All right, welcome to Pangea's first speaker series. We're going to be speaking to our 2023 summer interns. Welcome. I'm excited to, as our speaker for today, our guest today, Rob Truesdell, our very own, Pangea's very own Chief Product Officer. Excited to have you. There's a few things that we'd like to talk about beforehand. I'd like to introduce our interns here. We have Ruchika Muthanagiri, who is currently at the University of Maryland. We have Romana Basileja, who is our recent intern, part of the marketing team from the University of Washington. Excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course. So let's get to it, right? So, Rob, excited to have you here. Definitely want to ask you the one big question that I'd love for you to share with the team here is, how did you find yourself in this amazing role of Chief Product Officer for this exciting startup that's turning the security space on its head, right? So if you could please start with that.
Yeah. Pangea, awesome opportunity. It's been a great team. We've been working with Oliver and Sorb and so many others on the team for many years. So I think it starts with that. It's just like finding a good team that you have good chemistry with, and being loyal to that team and working hard, doing the right things for the team. But then throughout that, one of the key tenets with all of the products and companies that we've worked on in the past are just being putting the customer first. Everybody says it. We all know that we should do it. But I know that at least in the things that I've done in my career, it's been really customer oriented, like being in front of the customer, trying to learn as much from the customer as possible. And trying to get those learnings reflected into the product so that they benefit, everyone benefits. It's good for the product, good for the company, good for them. So for me, I just found that, again, the team chemistry element of it, very important. Finding good mentors as well. I've been really lucky with that. And then just being obsessed with customers, learning everything you can from them. So I'm sure there's more in there than that, but those are the ones that come to mind.
That's fantastic.
That are top. So
tell us about a mistake that you've made early in your career and how you've turned that
around. A lot. There's a lot of that. Everybody makes mistakes.
One that you'd like to share.
I know what I could tell you are that of the mistakes that I've made, I said there's been a lot of them. I could tell you like one common denominator across almost all of them are just being rushed, like not taking your time. And I remember hearing somebody say one time, haste makes waste. I've done that so many times, like where I've just like rushed through something, whether it was like an email to a boss or a customer or something like that. And you're like, gosh, you just didn't take the time to like really work through it the right way. A lot of times we feel rushed, like we want to get things done really fast. We all want to move at a very fast pace, but there's a threshold that you don't want to cross to where you start making mistakes, sloppy mistakes. And I've definitely done that in the past, where I've maybe sent an email with a technical inaccuracy or maybe a tone that wasn't quite right. And you're like, geez, like, why don't I just take the time to either take a breath and review it myself or get somebody else to look over my shoulder and review it also. So I would just say, no particular mistake comes to mind. There's so many, but like all of them, it's like the rushed element of it is what ends up causing a lot of it.
Well said. I mean, especially with today, everything is done digitally, whether it's Slack, chat, right, or email, just being careful, right?
Yeah.
How you're using the tone.
Then my next guest speaker spot, I'll have something teed up to share some mistakes. I just can't think.
Fair enough. I know, it was great. This is great info. What I'd like to do now is give it to the interns to ask a question each. So, Ruchika, can we start with you?
Sure. So Rob, what would you say is makes you keep learning, or while also simultaneously leading your team to success?
Yeah. I think that with what we're doing at Pangea, like there are so many things that we're trying to address for developers in the security space, that it forces us to be on the cutting edge of everything that we're building. Talking to customers, they're also on the cutting edge. Like they're the ones that have the real problems. So hearing from them kind of forces you down a path of learning. So it's got to be a priority. That's all. Just trying to learn everything you can about what users are doing with these products, listening to talks on different technologies, even trying to author your own talks or papers. Like that's a great forcing function to learn. And then as far as the team's concerned, everybody's kind of in that mode of learning as well. Like when you are in product management and you're writing requirements, you're working with customers, it's your responsibility to be sharp on those topics. So you have to learn or you're left behind. So it comes with the role. And I think that when you're in product management, you have a pull towards that, or else you probably wouldn't be in product management. I mean, in product management, it's roadmap. What's next? What are we doing? So I think that, it's just I think learning has to come a little bit naturally on the product management side, at least as a desire. And then the tech and customers force you to do it. So I don't know if that helps.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great. So Ramona, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, I have a question too. So if you could give advice to someone just starting their career, what would your advice be?
Okay. There's a few things. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I don't know how you all feel, but I know that when you're early in your career, especially just out of school, a lot of times it can be intimidating to ask questions. Whereas like in tech, I think particularly in software, what it is that we're doing, like you need to be asking questions. Like something's wrong if you're not asking questions, I think. So I think ask a lot of questions, right? Don't be afraid to ask. Another one that I know I struggled with when I was just out of school, where that you've learned all these great lessons in the classroom. Like there's textbook ways of going about things. I remember that there would be certain situations I would encounter that I try to say, okay, what did I learn in class? How do I apply this based on what I learned in a textbook or a classroom? And it doesn't always fit that way. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong in the curriculum or what you learn, but every circumstance you face, like whether it's in life or in work or whatever, isn't always going to fit perfectly the way that you studied it in a classroom. So you kind of have to like find the overlap, make do with what you do know, and then improvise a bit and use your common sense where you maybe don't have the answer. But I know that a lot of times I would struggle with that, where like if it didn't fit exactly perfectly into a textbook model that I learned, that I'd like have a hard time getting started. And so I think that just accepting that, hey, it's not always going to be that way that was in a textbook. Let me figure it out and just get going. I think that's an important thing to know coming out of school and into work.
It's great. Very well. Yeah, thank you. I have another question here for our interns, of course. Can you share a few words of wisdom that you wish someone had shared with you when you were in your early career? And I can repeat that if
no,
yeah,
a few words of wisdom. So I could share a word of wisdom I received later in my career. I wish I would have received earlier. So I heard this once from a COO at a past company I was at. When I was first getting into product management, he had said, know your product better than anybody on the face of the earth, and know your competitor's product better than anybody.
Very well said.
Yeah, than anybody on the face of the earth. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Like I had really liked that, and I'm like, I think it's a great mentality, not just for product management. It's for like at a company like Pangea, everybody here, we should know our product better than anybody else on the face of the earth, and competitors the same way. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Texting or talking?
Talking.
Okay. Nickname your parents called you. Please.
Hey, Robbie.
Robbie. Okay, that's an easy one. What's your favorite day of the week?
Saturday.
Of course, right? Yeah, that's a good call. I like that.
Or Friday.
Is double dipping at a party ever acceptable?
Never.
Never. Good. All right. Well, Rob, I want to thank you
Yes.
for joining us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This is great. I don't even know if that was.
What does double dip back in and dip it into the dip again?
It's good.
We got it. Yeah.
That was
good.
silly.
Everything's